Yo, welcome to the Table Talk podcast, where we sit down, pull up a chair, and we get started. This podcast is designed to provide you packed full of information to help you with your training, nutrition, lifestyle, and well-being, where we interview myself through case studies to give you lifetime experience. And then we also interview high-performing individuals or other career-focused people who are looking to make changes in their lifestyle, training, nutrition, and well-being. So let's pull up that chair and let's go. Yo, welcome to Table Talk. Carl here with a special guest, Jim Shanahan. Now, for those that might not know who this gentleman is, like most trainers in the industry, they started young, got their certs, and they've been PTs for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And literally from a lot of trainers, we speak from experience more from a client success. So I had a client, he was director of finance or he was a general manager, he was overweight. We got him into shape and got him looking good. And, they fell in love with health. But Jim is actually a man who's gone the opposite. So he actually is that person. Was a director of finance, then he was a general manager, realized that where he was going didn't align with what his values were and literally changed and became a trainer himself. As you can see, there's the sip of tea or coffee right there. As we do. So I'm really actually excited to have him because he actually has in himself personal experience. So not from client success. So he's had lots of success with clients, but he can actually come from a place of like compassion, experience, and really can resonate with people. And it's a really powerful, in my opinion, a powerful thing that you can do. So if you're a trainer or someone listening, really practice what you preach, put yourself in that position and understand it. Now, I'm not saying be a director of finance, but if you could, man, like the knowledge you would have to pass on to clients is incredible. So really excited to have Jim Shanahan on the podcast today to talk to us about himself, his journey, and then more about his business. So Jim, welcome.
Oh, thanks, Carl. Very excited to be here. So thank you for the introduction. Very kind.
Yeah. Long enough or too short? Probably too short. Your experience.
No, that was good. Yeah,
I didn't even say this new company, 5 Dog Runners. Oh, it was a bit too short.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we can check that in at some stage, but yeah, that's fine. I think we'll cover everything we need to.
So yeah, welcome to Table Talk. I'm really glad to have you. I think this is your first podcast you've done.
Yeah, it is. I've done some public speaking more from when I was working in finance, and made a few presentations. One down in Canberra, a couple online during COVID. So yeah, have had a little bit of experience this before, but this is from a slightly different angle. Talking about my new career as a coach. So yeah, very exciting.
Well, before we dive into that, because you said public speaking, what was your first time like doing public speaking?
Yeah, pretty nerve-wracking. I mean, I think it's something that doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. I'm a little bit of an introvert myself, so the idea of standing up in front of a room full of people is, a little bit horrifying. But I think you've just got to make sure that you do your homework and get yourself prepared and know what you're talking about. And then I think the key is to not write everything down verbatim and read everything. You've just got to have a couple of points that you can talk about. So luckily for me today, I can talk about running until the cows come home. So hopefully we should be okay.
That's not on my dot points though. Great.
No.
So dot points, be prepared. Just like obviously anything in life, be overly prepared is my motto that I like. So
yeah, I think.
To start with, for those that are listening, today's podcast is really just getting to know Jim himself. So the personal experience side. Then we're actually then going to dive into the business model. So that'll be our next bonus episode, which will be talking about the 5K runner, or which I'm actually interested in because Jim's got a program called Couch to 5Ks. There's a lot of programs out there, but he's got his own experience and twist to it. So we're going to dive into that. So if you're someone who doesn't like running, or if you're sitting on the couch listening to this, then jump onto the next episode and maybe give that program a go. So Jim, what does a typical day look like for you? And I guess for you, what was it like before director and now with the PT knowledge, health and fitness that you have? So there's a 2-part question there. So what was your routine before and now?
Yeah, look, I think, before COVID, when I was working, as an accountant, probably, well, definitely not taking as much care of my health as I should have. So, um, part of the journey that I've come through is I've lost about 12 kilos. Obviously, that's, been really beneficial for my own running, but I think I have a little bit of understanding of my own clients. So, as well as being involved in Five Dock Runners, I also work with Vision Personal Training in Five Dock. So we have a lot of clients who are, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, busy professionals, people who've maybe put the kids and the job first and, now finding themselves overweight. So I think, I come with a lot of understanding as to the journey that these people are going through. I think too, with some of the clients, they prefer having an older PT, simply because I understand why they don't bend the way that a 20-year-old does, and maybe some of the 20-year-old PTs have a little bit less empathy and understanding for why their 60-year-old client can't do that.
Been like a 20-year-old.
Whereas I've got the same aches and pains in the morning, so I have a little bit more appreciation for what they're going through.
It's even funny. My hamstring started cramping.
Well, I think some of my clients are single-handedly keeping the medical professionals in, Abbotsford, Drummoyne, and Five Dock Running. So, that's one of those things. As you get older, you're going to have to deal with injuries, and as a PT or coach, we need to factor those injuries into their training program.
So your routine now really is just more probably intuitive, more like you're listening to what's going on day to day, like the aches or niggles, and just adjusting to that.
I think there's probably more about consistency. So I used to get up at about 6:30. When I was working in my accounting role. Now I get up about 5 o'clock most mornings. I used to love a good sleep in on a Sunday, but then the problem, if you sleep in too much, you can't get to sleep on a Sunday night. So and you need to factor that into how that's going to affect your training. So I think definitely I've got a better eating routine, particularly in the mornings. Don't skip breakfast anymore. It's very important to have breakfast. If you're going to be I run at 6 or 6:30 in the morning, 3 times a week with clients. So need to be properly fueled for that. But you also need to make sure that you've had a good night's rest so that you can have enough energy to do the work. No, not only do the running, but also to got a few split shifts. So you might be starting at 6 a.m. and then you've got a client at 7 p.m. So you've got to make sure that you're properly fueled and rested.
Full day, and then they don't show up.
Unfortunately. That is the case sometimes.
So are you eating breakfast then running, or do you run then eat?
So I like to eat before I run, but one of the things I do when I'm running is I'll have something like an up and go, which is like liquid carbs. And I wouldn't really recommend that to clients as their go-to breakfast, but if you do want to have something before you run, liquids can be a lot easier for the stomach to keep down. So I think a lot of people, if they are going to start out on a running journey, their couch to 5K, they sort of need to mess around with what they can eat before their race. I know that some people follow the adage that if you don't eat before you exercise, you'll burn more fat because you don't have any carbs in your system. Whereas I'm more of the view that you need to eat to train and eat to perform. So I'm very much about making sure that you've got that energy before you get into the gym or before you go to the run, so that you can have a high intensity session and get the most out of the session.
Because isn't it when you so if I was to fast and then I run, yes, I'd burn more fat then, but I'm just going to put that weight back on through the day, right?
Yeah, look, I think with people, the danger of doing that to make sure you lose more fat is that your body metabolism could slow down if you're not eating frequently enough. And that's what we see with a lot of people, whereby they're doing a lot of exercise, but they're not potentially not even eating enough. And they'll get to a point where their body adapts, and they stop losing weight simply because their metabolism is slowing down. Whereas I'm more of the school where you eat more carbs for breakfast and lunch, and then less in the evening, so that you don't have, you don't go sit on the couch after a big bowl of pasta and all the carbs get turned into fat. So very much getting my carbs in early, and really only having salad or veggies as carbs for dinner.
Okay. And so carbs and so just meat and veg for dinner time. And does that, so like that'll go into my next question, which is so we've got the morning routine, we're going liquid gold, up and go. Banana's my favorite.
Yeah.
And then the nighttime routine, you're eating quite light. And have you found that helps you with sleep, or like what's the regime you have here at nighttime?
Yeah, so probably having a light dinner of protein and a bit of salad or veggies. Probably have more white fish and chicken. It's a little bit leaner than the red meat, and salmon's really good in omega-3 and other essential oils, but it's a little bit fattier than the white fish. So I do have that once a week, but probably not as a go-to. I try and get to bed at a regular time of like before 10 p.m. Just so that I can get at least 7 hours sleep. I'd like a little bit more, but that's not always possible. But just making sure that everything's prepared for the next day, so that I'm not looking for running shorts or anything at at 5:15 in the morning with the lights off, not trying to wake the rest of the house.
So quite a simple routine really for you to go to. So you're not doing like magnesium scrubs and oils. You're just doing a light meal.
I do have a bit of magnesium to help the muscles repair. Just try and look after myself and make sure that I'm ready for my next race. So part of it's making sure that I'm in the best shape to coach and train my clients, but also to making sure that when I do have those gaps in between clients, I can do my weights and do my running and do that.
Focus around performance. So making sure like we're checking in the morning, we're checking at night, making sure that like how am I feeling, what's going on, have some magnesium, light liquid meal in the morning, just so we've got energy fueling that body to perform the run. Well, and we're not doing all the we're not doing oils and scrubs and concoctions and chanting. We're just taking a light meal, magnesium, sleep.
No, I do like a protein shake in the morning. So just try and make sure I've got enough protein for my muscles to build and recover. And that's probably one of the things we notice a lot at Vision, is that in general people don't get enough protein. So that's probably something we focus on people.
What's a good number for people?
So I think with Vision we probably have a higher protein goal in the macros. So it's probably about a third, of their macros, whereas a lot of other nutrition plans will see more carbs. So, but a lot of our clients are weight loss clients. So part of that is building lean muscle, so the metabolism increases. And part of that is just in general, we find people when they come to us are eating way too much carbs, and not enough protein.
Yeah, okay. Regardless of the time when they have the carbs?
I think the second biggest issue for a lot of people, is eating the carbs at the wrong time of day. So, a common story I'd hear would be, I'm too busy to have breakfast. So they'd add a breakfast. They have a salad for lunch because they're dieting, and they get to 4 o'clock and they're absolutely starving because they basically haven't eaten anything all day. So they haven't had enough food, and that tends to lead to two things: either they have unhealthy snacks at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, or they go home and they have an enormous bowl of pasta, rice, potatoes, and a really big meal, and then they go sit on the couch and don't do anything, so they don't burn off any of those calories. So one of the big things is trying to get people to have the calories, and the carbs in particular, earlier in the day.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, obviously, because you fuel, right? So you got your carbs in the morning. What is a typical routine? Like, I'd say routine for you for the week, and then what are you currently doing? Like, so when it comes to training, most people have a 4 week plan. But from what we've talked about, it doesn't sound like you do it every 4 weeks. It sounds like you got something much more structured. So what does that look like at the micros, the week to week, and then a macro, the bigger scale?
Yeah, so I'll probably start with the macros. So
Okay.
I got on the idea of periodization, when I was doing my Cert 4, and looking about having an annual plan for my training. So I think one of the things I'd struggled with
You plan yearly.
because I plan around the races. So what I used to do was I'd train for a specific race. I'd have my 16-week training plan for a marathon, and then the running would drop off a cliff after I finish the race, right? So
Yep.
I'd make all these gains, you get up really high, and then I just go back down. So I'm probably doing 40 Ks a week when I'm not training per se, and then that builds up based on what the event is. But I think through trial and error, what I found is works for me is like a bit like a rugby league player, right? You're going to have your off season, right? So you finish the season. You're going to have you're going to have a 4 weeks or a month or so of recovery, and that's the time where you just let your body repair. I mean, usually for me that'll be around we have a family holiday somewhere, we like go away or something like that, and you can sort of relax a little bit more. Then in your pre-season, and this works for me as it does for a footy player, that's when I'll do a lot of heavier weights, and start building that muscle base. So probably at that stage I'll be training doing weights 3 times a week, but I'd still be running probably about 40 Ks a week, but at light intensity. Now then, as the season goes on, I probably start off doing like 5 Ks and 10 Ks races, so that I'm working on my speed. But at the same time, my endurance is coming up. And then later in the season, I'll be looking more at half marathons, trail runs, and the such like, because I've already got that, speed work that I need to be able to do that at the pace I want, but I'm building up my endurance as I come through the year. And by that stage,
is that over 3 days or 4? Like, so you've got speed days, 5, 10 Ks, and then you get your light endurance. So one's getting faster whilst the other's getting longer.
Yeah, so I'll do a long run on a Sunday or a Tuesday, depending on what my schedule is. From a running perspective, you need to do 80% of your runs as easy runs. Now, that'll be more of a mileage rather than, say, you're running 5 days a week, 4 are easy. So one of the things that a lot of people do, and I'll touch on this more when we talk about the couch to 5K, and it's a bit like weights, right? People do too much too soon and they get injured. So it's about
no, we're not an all or nothing society.
But it's the same deal, right? You've got to actually get your, if you're running, a couple of times a week, and you
500
try
meters. Yep.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you've got a plan that says you need to be running 30 Ks a week. It takes you a while to build up the 30 Ks. You can't just go out and run 30 Ks and expect not to get injured. So for me, it's then that by the time I'm doing the peak of the marathon training, you're talking 70 plus Ks a week. and you need to manage that intensity so that you're not getting injured. So you'll still be doing some speed work, but there'll be a lot of long, slow runs.
So what we're doing, so your routine, you're doing 4 times a week, where 3 is long, like endurance, and then you've got 1 speed day, which is the intensity.
Yeah, so I'll do one long run. I'll do like a fartlek, which is Swedish for speed play. So something where you're doing like maybe half an hour or so, but you're doing quick intervals with a recovery in between. And then a lot of my other running will be running with clients. So I do
And
two
that's
run
3 times.
Yeah, so I do 2 run clubs a week with Vision, and I run. I also coach cross country at a local school, and I have a run with the students on a Thursday morning as well. So probably doing 5 or 6 runs a week, but definitely need to keep in that speed work and need to keep in that long run.
And my next question is about would be how do you manage? You wake up and you're like, oh, not today. Like, is it just you still run but just slower, or are you doing light stretching and you go, hey guys, run around the block? Like, how does that look for one of those days that you're just like not feeling it?
Yeah, I think in general, if you're going to miss a run, you need to miss one of your easy runs. So if it's a day where you should be doing speed work or a long run, I try and shift that to another day if I have to. And that's where, having Tuesdays off, it gives me that flexibility of pushing the Sunday long run to a Tuesday if I need to. And with the speed work, I can flick that around to another day if I need to. So if I do need to take a day off or just have it, an easy one, maybe I do a little bit less running, when I'm coaching. So because you always have the option of running with them and setting the pace, or you could go down to a 400-meter track or an oval and get them to do work around the oval.
Yeah, wow. Interesting. My hamstring keeps cramping. I think my body's itching for the days I used to run. So, in summary, you're doing probably about 5 runs, 3 with groups, 2 with Vision and community, and then 1 with school kids. Amazing. Yeah. Typically to set a pace, so we're holding a steady speed but building your endurance. We then have a long run, which is building over time towards the event. So if you're doing a marathon, you're slowly building that up towards that distance. And then we have a fartlek day, which is, I'm just going to spitball, but say for 30 minutes straight, but you're doing, say, 500 meters fast and then 200 rest, and you do that for 30 minutes, if like an example. And the fundamental thing is I'm flexible on these moderate days of a standard distance. Let's say it's 5 kilometers, but the 2 days I won't miss is the fartlek speed day and the long endurance day.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, wow, cool.
You just can't miss those out, because if they're the ones that go, you're probably not going to be in the peak condition when you get to race day.
Yeah, okay. So the non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So then that's and what about weight training? Do you do much there, or is it just running at the moment?
Yeah, so in the off season, it'll be like 3 days a week. Probably half an hour or so. But at the moment, it's like 2 half-hour sessions, so it's more maintenance at this stage. So you still want to have strong legs in particular for running. You want to have a strong core, which gives you stability, stops you from going side to side and losing energy. And I think from an injury prevention and from a performance perspective, definitely doing a lot of work on the legs.
Yeah, and then do you do 2 full body workouts, or is it just you just train legs twice?
No, I do full body workouts. And I've tried different things of like antagonistic and synergistic, but I just prefer the simple, full body on 2 days a week. I think that just works best for me.
Yeah. And what's that look like? Like lat pull down, superset it with calf raises, then you do chest with lunges?
Yeah, so it'll probably be, one chest, one back, couple of legs, a bit of core and maybe chuck in some, biceps, triceps, shoulders, but not as a, priority. It's
cool.
more compound exercises rather than isolated exercises.
Right. So we got routines, we got nighttime routines, we got training, we have from finance to presenting, public speaking into now. What, mate, 3 lifetimes, right? So over those lifetimes, what are probably the 3 biggest like milestones or achievements you've had that's kind of brought you to today?
Yeah, I think probably a few things come to mind. Probably from a running perspective, having done 10 marathons is something that I'm really proud of. And obviously trying to do more, and I've got Sydney Marathon coming up, and trying to get improving my pace as I go through. I think from a career perspective, having worked as an accountant for nearly 30 years, doing the career change was a big thing for me, and it hasn't always been easy, but I think it's I'm lucky that I'm in a position where I can do something that I love, and we're financially we're okay, so I can sort of step back from working as an accountant. My kids have grown up now, and I don't necessarily regret the accounting career because it enabled me to work overseas. And I lived overseas in England and Ireland for 11 years, and that it was a career that you can do anywhere. So which gave me the freedom to travel, and also do a lot of traveling with work. I worked with Citibank at the time, and worked in the Central and Eastern Europe, Middle East and Africa division. So I did a lot of traveling to countries that maybe I wouldn't have gone to as a tourist. So that was quite interesting.
The land of no tan. Love it. I'm from Ireland, as you can tell.
Yeah, well, I lived in Dublin for nearly 2 years, and that was a great time. I think my Aussie accent actually got worse while I was over there because you'd walk into a pub and order a beer, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're from Australia," and so I think my accent, I played it up a little bit, so it got worse. 2 years while I was there.
Have a Guinness.
Yeah. So I think look, in my career as an accountant, I've been proud of being able to change careers, and I think I'm now in a good place, having had it's only like 2.5 years, but got the experience through working through Vision, and I've learned a lot there. And looking at moving off on my own with 5 dock runners and trying to expand my business, working for myself. So it's been an interesting 2.5 years, but really excited about the next step of really launching into 5 dock runners.
So highlight is running marathons, 10. That's a lot. 2 is the previous career that you had, and then the journey and transition into Vision, and now into 5 dock runners.
And raising a family along the way. So I've got 2 grown-up daughters now that I'm very proud of.
You were a troublemaker when you were a kid.
They've
what before we go to that is, what was it? Because you have a family, you have 2 daughters, your wife, and dogs. Don't forget the dogs. But my real question here is what was the transition for you? Were you a client at Vision? Did you one day you woke up and you're like, I'm changing, but it took time to prepare and get you there? Or was it, I woke up one day and I said, you know what? I've had a good 30 years. Now I'm going to do this. What was that like? What was that?
Yeah, it was more, I was working in a federal government role, and I was looking at leaving that. I'd been there for nearly 5 years, and wanted to change, and the decision point came to, well, do I want to do another accounting role, or do I want to do something else? And the more I thought about that, the idea of another 5 years in, in a role, working for federal government or state government or even in commerce, just wasn't appealing to me. So I had a good think about, what do I really want to do with my life? And, wanted to become, healthier myself. And, that was part of losing the 12 kilos. And, also helping other people, with that. So I've worked with, a few PTs across the years and, gotten good value out of, what they've done with me. And I thought, that would be a good way to, learn about, the business. I mean, to get to the stage of running your own business, you sort of need to have a little bit of credibility, but also, from my perspective, I like to try things before, I do it with a client or clients. So, if I'm going to build a running session for the students or, for the clients of Vision, I'll do that training session myself earlier in the week and, see if there's anything that needs to be tweaked. But want to have a good understanding of what they're going to go through and, is it going to achieve their goals of endurance or speed? How are they going to feel after 20, 25 minutes? Because I know if I'm doing a session and I'm shattered after 25 minutes, someone who's a less experienced runner is really going to be struggling. So you need to be able to adapt anything to cater for both accomplished and experienced runners and new runners as well. So I think it was just that idea of there wasn't going to be any real satisfaction working in accounting anymore, and that I was going to be working for another 10, 20 years. Just wanted to be doing something that I loved.
Okay. So you changed from accounting to accountability. It still has to have accounting in it.
Yeah, I wish I'd come up with that.
Yeah. Amazing. So this brings us to the end of the podcast. So from a man who went from raising a family, daughters, loving wife, and dogs, don't forget about the dogs, people. They're humans too.
She's just here, actually.
To then really coming to a point in his career where he ticked the milestone and just said, what next? Do I continue? And he said, no, but it has to have accounting still in it. So accountability was what it was. Now into a career of personal training, really helping transform people's lives. So really excited about today's podcast with Jim. So thanks for having us, or thanks for coming on. But I'm looking forward to getting you back on. And we're actually now going to talk about the 5 Doc Runners Club, and how he's really built a community of runners and just literally helping people that, like himself, have gone from 0 to 5Ks and now running marathons. So tune in next time and we'll see you soon. Hey, thanks so much for joining the episode of Table Talk today. We hope you found some helpful tips and inspiration in staying healthy and fit, even with a busy schedule. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Stay tuned for our next conversation. Until then, keep prioritizing yourself, your health, your fitness, and we'll see you on the next Table Talk.